If your dream home search feels like wandering through a maze, you're definitely not alone. For many first-time homebuyers, the process of finding and purchasing a house can feel like navigating a labyrinth, filled with twists, turns, and unexpected dead ends. You might start out with a clear vision of what you want. Maybe a cozy bungalow with a white picket fence or a modern condo in the heart of the city. But as soon as you start looking at listings, talking to agents, and reading through documents, you're hit with a tidal wave of unfamiliar terms and confusing jargon. It's easy to feel lost, especially when every decision seems so important and every word in a contract could have a big impact on your future. The good news is, you're not the only one who feels this way. In fact, almost every first-time homebuyer experiences some level of confusion or anxiety when they first dive into the world of real estate. The key is to take a deep breath. Remember that you don't have to figure it all out at once, and know that there are resources and people ready to help you every step of the way. The world of real estate is full of terms that can make even the most confident buyer feel uncertain. Words like escrow, appraisal, and closing costs get tossed around in conversations with agents, lenders, and sellers, but what do they actually mean? If you've ever found yourself nodding along in a meeting, secretly Googling terms under the table, or feeling like you're the only one who doesn't understand, rest assured, you're in good company. Real estate is a complex field, and it's perfectly normal to feel a bit lost at first. The important thing is to ask questions, seek out reliable information, and remember that every expert was once a beginner. By taking the time to learn the basics, you'll not only feel more confident, but you'll also be better equipped to make smart decisions that protect your interests and help you achieve your goals. So, let's take a moment to simplify things together. Whether you're just starting to think about buying a home, or you're already deep into the process, understanding a few key terms can make a world of difference. Think of this as your personal guide to decoding the language of real estate, a way to turn that confusing maze into a clear, straightforward path. By the end of this chapter, you'll have a solid grasp of 3 essential terms that every first-time homebuyer should know. These aren't just buzzwords, they're the building blocks of a successful home purchase. So grab a notebook, get comfortable, and let's break it all down step by step. Here are 3 must-know real estate terms for first-time homebuyers in 2025. These terms are more than just vocabulary, they're the foundation of your home buying journey. Understanding them will empower you to ask the right questions, avoid costly mistakes, and move forward with confidence. Whether you're buying your first condo, townhouse, or single-family home, these concepts will come up again and again. So let's dive in and make sure you're ready for every step of the process. First up is escrow. If you've ever wondered what happens to your money between the time you make an offer on a house and the moment you get the keys, escrow is the answer. Think of escrow as a secure, neutral holding place for your money and important documents during the home buying process. When you make an offer on a home and it's accepted, you'll typically be asked to put down an earnest money deposit. This deposit shows the seller that you're serious about buying the property. But instead of giving the money directly to the seller, it goes into an escrow account, which is managed by a neutral third party, often an escrow company, title company, or attorney, depending on your state. The escrow agent's job is to make sure that all the conditions of the sale are met before any money changes hands. This includes things like finalizing the loan, completing inspections, and making sure the title is clear. Only when everything is in order does the escrow agent release the funds to the seller and the keys to you. Escrow protects both the buyer and the seller by ensuring that no one gets shortchanged or left in the lurch. It's a system built on trust, transparency, and accountability, and it's one of the most important safeguards in the home buying process. In practical terms, escrow is like a safety net for your transaction. Imagine you're buying a house and you've agreed on a price with the seller. You want to make sure the seller actually owns the house and that there are no hidden problems like unpaid taxes or liens. The seller, on the other hand, wants to make sure you're serious and that you have the funds to complete the purchase. Escrow bridges this gap by holding your deposit and overseeing the process until all the conditions are met. During escrow, you'll work with your lender to finalize your mortgage, schedule a home inspection to check for any issues, and review the title report to make sure there are no surprises. If any problems come up, like repairs that need to be made or questions about the title, the escrow agent helps coordinate solutions. Once everything is resolved, the escrow agent distributes the funds, records the sale, and hands over the keys. It's a process designed to protect everyone involved and ensure a smooth, fair transaction. Next, let's talk about appraisal. An appraisal is a professional estimate of a home's market value, conducted by a licensed appraiser. This step is crucial because it helps everyone involved, buyers, sellers, and lenders, understand what the property is really worth. When you apply for a mortgage, your lender will usually require an appraisal to make sure the home is worth the amount you're borrowing. The appraiser visits the property, examines its condition, size, features, and location, and compares it to similar homes that have recently sold in the area. They then prepare a detailed report that outlines their findings and provides an official value for the home. This value is important because it affects how much the lender is willing to loan you, and it can also impact your negotiations with the seller. If the appraisal comes in lower than the agreed-upon price, you may need to renegotiate, bring more money to the table, or even walk away from the deal. On the other hand, if the appraisal matches or exceeds the price, you can move forward with confidence, knowing you're making a sound investment. The appraisal process can feel a bit mysterious, but it's actually a straightforward and essential part of buying a home. The appraiser is an independent expert who doesn't work for the buyer or the seller, which means their assessment is unbiased and based on facts. They look at things like the home's square footage, the number of bedrooms and bathrooms, the condition of the roof and foundation, and any recent upgrades or renovations. They also consider the neighborhood, local schools, and proximity to amenities like parks and shopping centers. By comparing your potential new home to similar properties that have sold nearby, the appraiser determines a fair market value. This protects you from overpaying and helps your lender feel confident about the investment. If the appraisal reveals issues like structural problems or outdated systems, it can also give you leverage to negotiate repairs or a lower price. In short, the appraisal is your safeguard against surprises and a key step in making sure your new home is a smart financial decision. And finally, let's demystify closing costs. These are the fees and expenses you'll need to pay to finalize your home purchase. Closing costs can include a variety of charges such as loan origination fees, title insurance, appraisal fees, attorney fees, recording fees, and prepaid items like property taxes and homeowner's insurance. While the exact amount can vary depending on your location, lender, and the specifics of your transaction, closing costs typically range from 2% to 5% of the home's purchase price. It's important to budget for these costs early in the process, so you're not caught off guard when it's time to sign the final paperwork. Your lender is required to provide you with a loan estimate early on, which outlines the expected closing costs, and a closing disclosure a few days before closing, which details the final amounts. Reviewing these documents carefully and asking questions about any unfamiliar charges can help you avoid surprises and ensure you're fully prepared for the big day. Closing day is the moment when all your hard work pays off. After weeks or even months of searching, negotiating, and preparing, you'll sit down with your agent, lender, and possibly an attorney to sign the final documents. You'll review the closing disclosure, confirm that all the numbers add up, and pay your closing costs, usually by wire transfer or cashier's check. Once everything is signed and the funds are distributed, the title is officially transferred to your name, and you become the proud owner of your new home. It's a moment of celebration, relief, and excitement, marking the end of one journey and the beginning of another. Understanding closing costs and being prepared for this final step can help ensure a smooth, stress-free experience so you can focus on what really matters, moving in and making your new house a home. Now, as you look ahead to buying your first home in 2025, remember that knowledge is your greatest asset. By understanding key terms like escrow, appraisal, and closing costs, you're already one step closer to turning your dream into reality. The home buying process may seem daunting at first, but with the right information and a little bit of patience, you'll find that it's not only manageable, but also incredibly rewarding. So take your time, ask questions, and don't be afraid to lean on your real estate agent, lender, and other professionals for support. Every step you take brings you closer to the moment when you'll hold the keys to your very own home. Happy house hunting, and here's to new beginnings.